Hello? Is it working? Okay, it's working. All right, let me do that again. I hereby call this meeting to order and ask everyone to please take their seats. And the first item, I'd like to introduce any special guests. Do we have any special guests or legislators today? Probably not. Okay, we're good. All right, Secretary Gatz, you're recognized for an update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the Commission's patience this morning as we work through a little bit of technology. Commissioner Grimsley, I appreciate you stepping in as chair. Couple things. I want to first open by saying and acknowledging the resignation of Commissioner Gene McCown. The department very much appreciates his service to the Transportation Commission and to ODOT, and want to, like I said, first and foremost, thank him for the time that he spent with us. Also, as part of that announcement, I would like to recognize Michael Junk as our new governor's appointee for our at-large commissioner. Michael has a wealth of transportation knowledge, and we really look forward to him joining the commission. He was unable to make this meeting because of an engagement that he had previously scheduled, but he'll be with us for the March meeting. So again, just wanted to let the commission formally know that we do have a new appointee, and again, we very much look forward to Michael Junk joining the Transportation Commission and his attendance at the March meeting. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Okay.
Boom. So it's not working again?
Okay, we'll continue. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. The Commission Secretary will now call the roll.
Mr. Coburn. Coburn here. Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley here.
Mr. Shannon.
Here.
Mr. Freimiller. Mr. Dyson.
Dyson here.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander here.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge here.
Mr. Peterson. Mr. Junk.
So we have a majority, I believe?
We do.
Okay, so we do have a majority, so we can continue on. Okay. Are there any other announcements and presentations, Mr. Secretary? Okay. All right, let's move on to item number 13. Item 13 is approval of the minutes of the Transportation Commission meeting on January 9th, 2023. Do I have a motion for approval of item 13?
Motion, Dyson.
Second, Alexander.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon. Mr. Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Okay, the motion carries. I believe we did have a majority, so motion carries on that. All right, now we'll move on to the consent docket. The consent docket contains items 14 through 20. If any commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion for approval of the consent docket.
So moved on the consent docket. Coburn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon.
Yes.
Mr. Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
All right, the motion carries. Moving on to item number 21. Item 21 is engineering contracts. Mr. Tegler, you're recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Secretary. Item 21 are the engineering contracts that I have this month, the 8 parts, A through H. Part A is a statewide all districts are off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. Department has selected 2 firms to provide these services. They are Burgess and Nyepel and Consor Engineers. The aggregate not to exceed amount for these 2 contracts is $3,525,330. Part B is the statewide all districts. This is their on-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. Department has selected Burgess and Nyepel to provide these services. Total not to exceed amount for this contract is $1,602,900. Part C in Beaver County in District 6. Department has selected Walter P. Moore and Associates to prepare construction plans for US 64. Project includes adding shoulders and new surface to an existing two-lane rural highway. Total not to exceed amount is $902,500. This project is in the 8-year construction work plan 2028. Part D in Cimarron County in District 6. The department has selected Cowan Group Engineering. These are construction plans for US 287. This project also includes adding shoulders and new surface to an existing two-lane rural highway. Total not to exceed amount is $609,250. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan in 2026. Part E in Woodward County, also in District 6. Department has selected Smith Roberts Boulderschweiler, prepare construction plans for State Highway 34. Project includes adding shoulders and new surface to an existing two-lane rural highway. These two projects are in the 8-year construction work plan in 2027 and 2028. The total not to exceed amount for these two projects are $2,289,168. Part F in Grady County in District 7. Department has selected CEC Corporation to prepare construction plans for State Highway 4. Project includes adding shoulders, adding two additional lanes and new surface to an existing two-lane rural highway for a 4-lane divided highway. Total not to exceed amount is $1,588,290. This project is also in the 8-year construction work plan and scheduled in 2027. Part G in Grady County in District 7. Department has selected Team Design. These are construction plans for State Highway 92. The project includes adding shoulders and new surface to an existing two-lane rural highway. Total not to exceed amount is $2,454,360. These two projects are in the 8-year construction work plan in 2028 and 2029. And finally, Part H in Mays County in District 8. The department has selected Garver to provide engineering and construction plans for the intersection at State Highway 412B and 412 junction. Project includes adding on and off ramps to an existing at-grade intersection for a new fully controlled access interchange. Total not to exceed amount is $3,500,000. This project is in the 8-year construction work plan and scheduled let date of 2024. Approval is recommended. Try to answer any questions if you gentlemen have anything this morning.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 21?
Motion Dyson.
Any second?
Second, Coburn.
Any discussion? Okay, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes?
Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Okay, the motion passed. We'll move on to item 22, which is engineering contract supplements. Mr. Tegler, you are recognized to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 9 parts this month for the supplements. That's parts A through I. Part A is a statewide all districts are on-demand bridge assessment contract. Previously selected 4 firms to provide this service. They are Burgess and Nyepel, Consor Engineers, H.W. Lochner, and Walter P. Moore and Associates. Total aggregate increase for these contract supplements is $1 million. Part B in Cherokee County in District 1. Previously authorized Tetra Tech for the engineering and construction plans for State Highway 51. Project includes adding shoulders and a new surface to an existing 2-lane rural highway. Supplement not to exceed amount is $47,100. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan in 2024. Part C in Haskell County in District 1. Department previously authorized Consor Engineers to prepare construction plans for State Highway 71. This project includes replacing several inadequate cross drains with a new bridge structure. Supplement not to exceed amount of $69,050. This project is also in the 8-year construction work plan, scheduled let date of 2027. Part D in Muskogee County in District 1. Department previously authorized MKEC Engineering to prepare construction plans for the bridge over State Highway 72. Project includes adding a bridge and modifying the intersection due to high accident counts. Supplement not to exceed amount is $15,500. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan, let date of 2028. Part E in Atoka County in District 2. Department previously authorized HNTB Corporation to prepare construction plans for US 69. Project includes adding a center turn lane to an existing 4-lane urban highway. Supplement not to exceed amount of $69,200. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan and scheduled in 2026. Part F in Oklahoma County, this is District 4, previously authorized Garver to perform engineering and construction plans for I-35 at the Waterloo Road interchange. This project includes replacing a functionally obsolete bridge, increased traffic capacity, and improved safety with a new interchange. Supplement not to exceed amount is $271,547. This project is in the 8-year construction work plan in 2025. Part G in Tulsa County in District 8, previously authorized Benham Design for engineering and construction plans for US 75 at the 81st Street South location interchange. Project includes modifying existing interchange to increase capacity and improve safety. Supplement not to exceed amount is $1,170,275. Project is in the 8-year work plan, scheduled in 2025. Part H, Tulsa County as well, in District 8, previously authorized Benham Design, prepare construction plans for the I-44 US 75 interchange. This is work packages number 2 and number 5. Project includes multiple safety and operational improvements. Supplement not to exceed amount is $1,917,111. This project, both of these projects are in the 8-year construction work plan. Schedule let date of 2023 and 2024. And finally, Part I in Tulsa County as well in District 8. Department previously authorized Poe and Associates to prepare construction plans for that same interchange at I-44 US 75. This is work package number 3. Also includes multiple safety and operational improvements. Supplement not to exceed amount is $543,400. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan in 2023. Approval is recommended. Try to answer any questions if you have any this morning.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 22?
Peterson, I'll make the motion, if you can hear me.
Commissioner Peterson makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Coburn, second.
Second by Shannon.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
And yes, and sorry for my technical problems.
Motion carries and passes. So we'll move on to item number 23. Thank you, Mr. Tegler. Item 23 is change orders with a cumulative total of $75,000 or less. And Mr. Leonard, you are recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item number 23, parts A through double G. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders of $75,000 or less. This item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary, but I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? I do want to make one comment. Thank you for the cumulative totals. That helps us to monitor trends. I
Good.
appreciate you adding that. Okay, if there are no questions, Mr. Leonard, you are recognized to present item 24, change orders with a cumulative total greater than $75,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 24, parts A through double L. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders greater than $75,000. Your approval is recommended, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 24?
So moved by Shannon.
Do I have a second?
Second, Coburn.
Any discussion? Hold on.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Shannon, you can't make a motion in this meeting today because we didn't properly post you as virtual until today. So you can participate, but you cannot make a motion, nor will your vote count.
Okay, so let's retract the motion and start over then. Do I have a motion for approval of item 24?
LaForge, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion,
Coburn.
second?
Coburn, second.
Okay. We have a motion and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes?
Mr. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
And yes, was that Sarah that spoke? Because I couldn't hear her
Yes.
clearly.
Yes, that was Ms. Penn. She just,
And what was the nature of her comments?
she just mentioned that since Commissioner Shannon is remote today and it wasn't posted in time, he cannot introduce a motion. That she just instructed us of that fact, so. So we retracted the motion and voted again.
All right, and then I will vote A, vote for it.
Okay. All right, so the motion carries. Let's move on. Let's see, hold on. So we've already voted on 24, right? So we've already
Yes.
voted. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay,
On
we've done
25.
that. Sorry.
Thank you.
Got thrown on. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Leonard. Item 25 is proposed bid openings. Mr. Hackney, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 25, proposed bid openings, consists of the final March 2023, tentative April 2023, tentative May 2023 bid openings. The department recommends approval.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval for item 25?
I'll make a motion, Alexander.
Do I have a second?
Second, Dyson.
Any discussion? The secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon? Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Okay, the motion carries and passes. We'll move on to item 26, which is the emergency bridge repairs. And Mr. Davis, you're recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is be presented to you for information only. No action is necessary on your part, but I'll certainly try to answer any questions if you have them, and I believe the director will speak to this a little bit in his report as well. Item number 26 is emergency declaration for NBI 17207 and 17208. These are the I-35 bridges over State Highway 39 near the city of Purcell in McLean County. On January 12th, and I will read this as written on January 13th when we signed the declaration. On January 12th, 2023, both bridge structures were struck by a vehicle traveling underneath I-35 on State Highway 39, causing damage to 5 of the 5 beam lines on each bridge. The impact to the 3 outside beam lines on each bridge is significant, and as a result has affected the load carrying capacity of I-35 above. Immediately upon notification of the impact, District 3 staff mobilized to shift I-35 traffic away from the outside lanes and shoulders of both bridges. District staff, along with ODOT Bridge Division, performed a hands-on inspection of the damage and determined the best short-term course of action was to leave I-35 closed until repairs could be made. In accordance with Title 61 of the Oklahoma Statutes, Section 130, and Oklahoma Administrative Code, Section 730, Secretary Gass declared that an emergency existed which impaired the safety of the traveling public and authorized the department to issue an emergency contract for repairing the structures, including all associated traffic control costs. The estimated cost at that time was $750,000. Just to give you a little bit of timeline on this, the bridge was struck on January 12th on a Thursday. That night, we immediately began calling some of our local Oklahoma contractors because we didn't know the exact extent of the damage. We thought there might have to be some pretty big repairs made. So on Friday morning, Bridge Division, along with District 3 and 3 of our local contractors met on site to assess the damage. It was determined at that time that at least 9 of the beams could be flame straightened, as you can see on some of the pictures up here. One of the beams was questionable, whether it was going to have to be removed or not. So we immediately set forth and got Nationwide, the premier flame straightening company, on the phone. They said that they could be in the state and on the ground at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning to start repairs on this project. So we did that. Flame On arrived Saturday morning, started the repairs, and on Monday, Monday, January 16th, the northbound was back open to 2 lanes, since you can imagine how big a deal that was on I-35 in the Purcell area with the capacity issues we have already down there. 2 days later, on Wednesday, January 18th, we opened southbound to 2 lanes as well. And the shoulders and everything else got opened up that following Saturday. So about 8 days worth of work, we had I-35 back open to the full capacity. So I just wanted to recognize ODOT Bridge Division, the District 3 crews, General Counsel's Office for helping us get everything put together, and of course our contractors for partnering with us on this. It was a big deal to get that open back up as soon as we did. So answer any questions if you guys have any.
Okay, Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Is there any discussion? I believe the Secretary will be talking to us. So thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
All right, item 27 is Department Administrative Rules, and Ms. Indris, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm presenting agenda item 27, parts A through I. This is amendments to the Department's administrative rules as required pursuant to the Oklahoma Administrative Procedures Act, 75 OS Section 303. The following rule amendments requested for your consideration and approval have been previously provided to you in the commission packet materials, with one substitution also handed to you this morning. Item A is approval to add new Chapter 50 size and weight permit rules, OAC 73051-1 through 73059-1 with attached Appendix A. The proposed rulemaking action is needed because House Bill 4008 from the 2022 legislative session moved the size and weights permits program outlined in Title 47 from the Department of Public Safety to the Department of Transportation. These 41 new rules are replacing and updating the existing size and weight rules of DPS and ODOT that have become outdated. These new rules will also combine and consolidate all size and weight rules into one chapter so the department can administer the program in accordance with House Bill 4008 mandates. Item B is approval to revoke OAC Rule Number 731-5-5, Collection of Damaged Claims. The proposed rulemaking action is needed to eliminate a rule that is no longer necessary or required to be an administrative rule and will bring the department's processes and procedures up to date with current practices. Item C is approval to revoke OAC Rule 730-39-2 through 730-39-16 with Appendix C, D, and E. This is the old size and weights rules for the department. The proposed rulemaking action revokes all Chapter 30, subsection 9 in Title 730, which contains 15 rules and 3 appendixes regarding the size and weight permit program that were used by the department prior to the passage of House Bill 4008. These rules need to be revoked to prevent duplication with the new Chapter 50 size and weight rules that have been proposed in Part A above. This rulemaking action will bring the department's rules up to date in accordance with current department processes and procedures that are required by the past legislation. Item D is approval to revoke the Highway Construction Materials Technician Certification Board rules. Title 318, Chapter 1, OAC Rules 318-1-1-1 through 318-1-1-6. Title 318, Chapter 10, Rules 318-10-1-1 through 318-10-1-11, and Title 318, Chapter 20, Rules 318-20-1 through 318-20-1-16. The proposed rulemaking action revokes Chapter 1, 10, and 20 of Title 318, which contains 33 rules. Revocation of these rules is necessary because the legislature in 2022 passed House Bill 1229, which repealed the statutes governing and creating the Highway Construction Materials Technician Board. These rules require revocation to prevent confusion now that the Department of Transportation is statutorily responsible for this program, and the board has been disbanded on November 1st, 2022. Item E is approval to amend OAC Rule 731-5-2 Personnel Policies. The proposed rulemaking action is needed to bring this rule up to date and in accordance with current department processes and procedures and legislative changes to the civil program names. Item F is approval to amend OAC Rules 730-30-3-2, Standard Specifications. The proposed rulemaking action is needed to bring the rules up to date in accordance with current department processes and procedures. More specifically, the rule is to change the reference to correct the reference and have the most updated version to the Standard Specifications for Highway Construction Manual. Item G is approval to amend OAC Rule 730-35-1-4, Maintenance Responsibilities. That item was substituted in your packets this morning. And 730-35-7-3, Traffic Control Responsibilities. The proposed rulemaking action is needed to bring these rules up to date and in accordance with current law and department processes and procedures. The amendments remove language that is unnecessary and impeding the department's ability to fund installation of certain traffic sign devices. Item H, approval to amend OAC Rules 735-13-1 Freeway Signage Supplement Guide Signs, 730-35-13-2 Criteria and Limitations for Traffic Generator Signs, 730-35-13-3 Traffic Generators that do not normally warrant signing, and 730-35-13-4 Tourist-Oriented Directional Signs, TODS, with revoked appendixes D, E, and F. The proposed rulemaking action is to bring these 4 traffic rules into compliance with existing law and to remove unnecessary and outdated language so the department will have more discretion to assist municipalities with traffic device installation. The last item is item I, approval to amend OAC Rules 730-45-1-3, Administration, and 730-45-1-4, Use of Funds. The proposed rulemaking action is to bring these two rules up to date with statutory changes that have renamed the department's program to the Office of Mobility and Public Transit Division. The amendment also clarifies how the program funds may be used. And for clarification, so that you know, items A, C, D, E, and I are amendments needed due to passage of legislation during previous sessions. Item B is a revocation of an unnecessary rule that is encouraged by Executive Order 2020-03, where the governor has called for agencies to revoke unnecessary and outdated rules. Item F is a minor cleanup change. It just is referencing the correct version of the manual used by the department. And items G and H are traffic sign-related rules, and the rules in these two items are more substantive changes that are recommended by the department. And with that, I will entertain any questions you may have with regard to the rules.
I think I want to pause for just a second, and there's a lot here. A lot of this is cleanup from what we've seen, but in the future, if we could get maybe 10 days, it'd be nice if we had time, because we do have to scramble, the weekend before. So if we could, I think an extra amount of time on things like this when we're looking at something that's a lot of detail, I'd like to see maybe 10 days, give us a couple of weekends, so just in future. So commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 27?
Motion Dyson.
Do I have a second?
Second, Alexander.
Any discussion? Okay, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Okay, the motion carries, passed. Thank you. Items 28 and 29 are from the Local Government Division. Ms. Williams, you are recognized to present.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Agenda item 28 is a request for final approval of the county designation order for FY 2023. The designation order is prepared for use by the County Road Machinery and Equipment Revolving Fund. This designation order has been presented and approved by the ODOT County Advisory Board. Annually, this designation order is created and used to determine the ranking by which counties can participate in the County Equipment Revolving Fund. Those counties receiving the least appropriations per mile are given the highest priority. Calculations are based on revenue generated from various tax collections and certified road mileage. Your approval is recommended, and I'm willing to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of items 28 and 29?
LaForge, move for approval.
Do I have a
Coburn,
second? Any discussion? All right, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Okay, the motion carries and passes. We'll move on. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 30, which is awards. Did we finish this one? Hold on.
I would love to present item 29.
Oh, I thought we voted on them both.
You said 28 and 29, I believe.
Yeah, we voted on, okay.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Let's go ahead and present it. Let's just,
I was willing to walk away.
yes, you need to present it. You need to present it. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. So item 29 is a request for your approval to award $5 million in municipal road drilling activity funds. Beginning in FY 2023, House Bill 3037 apportioned $5 million to assist cities with populations less than 15,000 in repairing damage to city streets caused by oil field drilling activity. It funds 75% of the cost of repairs, and 25% local match is required by the municipalities. ODOT was tasked with evaluating applications and recommending award of these funds. The recommended $5 million in awards will benefit 15 cities in repairing 16.67 miles of roadway. Your approval is recommended, and again, I'll answer any questions.
Okay, does anyone have any concerns with this?
Could you name the cities? Do you have the?
I do. It is included in the packet.
I couldn't find it.
So we're awarding 19 projects. The cities being Atoka, Newcastle, Purcell, Wayne, Crescent, Kingfisher, Piedmont, Ripley, Canute, Burns Flat, Jet, Cherokee, Tuttle, Marlow, and Drumright.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
And I apologize to the commissioners for jumping the gun. Are there any other concerns on that? Any others?
Bob Peterson here. In the subcommittee, we discussed this for a little bit, and I believe, Shelley, you might explain that the individual cities have a financial co-share with us, I believe.
That's correct. Legislation will allow for 75% of the cost of those repairs to be participated in. We evaluated the applications that we received, made award recommendations, and there will be a final audit report required at the end to make sure they participated their 25%. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, I was satisfied in the subcommittee meeting. Thank you.
Any
Okay.
other questions?
Any other questions? Ms. Penn, are we okay?
Let's vote again.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote again, just to be safe. So, Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of items 28 and 29?
LaForge move for approval.
Do I have a second?
Coburn second. Do we need 28 and 29, or just 29?
You just need 29, but you can do a motion for 28 and 29, that's fine.
Let's be
Just
safe.
have
No
to
problem.
vote.
Let's be safe. We'll be safe. Okay, any discussion? All right, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes?
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, motion carries again. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Item 30 is contract awards. Mr. Deltz, you are recognized to present.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Item 30 will be our recommendations for awards. Our presentation will be in three parts. Part A is the recommendation from the deferral from the December 22nd bid opening. The following item, referred to by call order, was deferred from the December 22nd bid opening. It is now recommended that that item be rejected, and that was call order 757. Part B is recommendations from the January 12th bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the January 12th bid opening, referred to by call order, be awarded. Its call orders 100, 105, 110, 115, 120, 125, 150, 155, 160, 165, 175, 185, 190, 195, 200, and 210. It is recommended that the following item from the January 12th bid opening, referred to by call order, be rejected, and that's call order 180. Part C, our recommendation from the January 19th bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the January 19th bid opening, referred to by call order, be awarded. Its call orders 306, 312, 315 to the second low bidder, 318, 333, 336, 342, 345, 348, 354, 360, and 363. It is recommended that the following item from the January 19th bid opening, referred to by call order, be rejected. That's call orders 303 and 357. This concludes the recommendations for awards, and your approval is requested.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval for item 30?
Move to be approved. LaForge.
Do I have a second?
Coburn second.
Any discussion on this? All right, the secretary will call roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Okay, the item carries. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Deltz.
Commissioners.
All right, item 31 is the director's report. So, Mr. Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. First and foremost, Commissioner Grimsley, we very much appreciate you stepping in as chair this morning. And as we discussed, it's extremely important that we test our technology from time to time. And we obviously had some technical difficulties. I certainly apologize to both Commissioner Peterson and to Commissioner Shannon because, again, virtual participation in meetings like this are something that we're going to have to get used to. And we've done it before successfully. And again, this morning gave us a little bit of a do better indication. So you can rest assured that we will circle back and make sure that whenever the need to participate virtually arises, that we can properly address it with confidence in the performance of our tech. So
Well,
again,
I will humbly fall on my sword, Mr. Secretary, as the problem was at my end.
well, again, these are challenges that we all need to kind of get used to. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that we will continue our work to make sure that we can accommodate these needs when they do arise. Sean talked about the emergency bridge project on I-35. I don't know that I've got a whole lot to add to the presentation that Sean made, other than I'd ask that the industry, whether you're moving equipment, whether you're hauling loads via truck, please be attentive to the 14-foot legal load height. And if you exceed that legal load height limitation, please secure the proper permits, pay attention to the proper maps, and be extremely careful out there. We're having too many hits, and not every bridge that we have is a 17-foot tall interstate bridge. Many of them are posted below 15 feet, and I'd ask for the industry again to help out, pay attention, and be extremely careful when you're out there traveling our highways with something that even is near the 14-foot limit. So thank you to everybody that was involved in that emergency project on all of the team's side, because again, we delivered that in a repair very quickly, and a job well done by all. Appreciate your consideration this morning of several projects. I-235 off Broadway is the final phase in the interchange at I-44 and I-235. This project won't have much of an impact on the mainline traffic flows, but it is reconnecting and certainly improving the direct connections in the areas of Lincoln Boulevard and 63rd Street. So starts early summer of '23. We expect it to be wrapped up by late summer of '24. And again, we're looking forward to having that interchange fully completed. Pavement replacement rehabilitation project out on I-40, Canadian County, from I-40 Business in El Reno to Maple Road. Again, we've got a project out there that's getting after some pavement on the interstate that is deficient and needs some attention. That's a $24 million project. Anytime we do projects on the interstate system, as we discussed, it's extremely disruptive to travel patterns, and we want the public to know that there'll be some lane closures and some traffic problems out there. But again, at the end of the day, the improvement was needed, and the pavement will be in better condition because of it. So thank everybody for their patience as we put that under construction. Between Highway 66 and State Highway 3 Northwest Expressway, Canadian County, also in the Yukon area, we've got a partnership project with the city of Yukon where we're doing some shouldering work and a little bit of widening work between Yukon and really Piedmont. That section is a rural two-lane that's narrow and certainly needs attention, so that supports our continued investment in our rural two-lane infrastructure that doesn't have safety shoulders. And lastly, ask for the folks in Tulsa to be aware of a rehabilitation project on a bridge ramp at I-244 from First Street. That's the on-ramp. That helps folks in downtown Tulsa, especially during the evening rush hour. It was a structurally deficient bridge, but there's quite a bit of traffic on it. So again, even though it's not a significantly large project, it could be disruptive to traffic, so we want everybody to be aware of that. The department was a recipient of a National Infrastructure Project Assistance Grant, mega grant, one of 9 that was awarded across the country. $85 million, which is the largest transportation grant that the department has received for the Interstate 44 and US 75 interchange, again, there in Tulsa. That grant's going to help us shoulder the funding burden of 3 phases, and those are already scheduled. But again, when we receive a grant like this, it helps us move that work forward faster and more efficiently, and also affects the whole of the 8-year construction work plan, because we're able to move other projects forward and get after that construction quicker. Also, certainly as the commission recognizes, we're experiencing some inflationary pressures and challenges on our construction contracts, and certainly grants like this help us keep everything on schedule and balanced in that 8-year construction work plan. At this point, I'd like to take an opportunity to queue up our ODOT year-end review video and give us a chance to kind of reflect back a little bit on the accomplishments of 2022. So if you'd bear with us, we'll queue up a video. If the technology gods will support us.
Bridge reconstruction projects and repairs made in 2021 helped move Oklahoma to number 5 in the nation for the first time. The state had ranked number 7 among states with the lowest percentages of structurally deficient bridges on the highway system. This new number 5 ranking applies to the bridges on Oklahoma's highway system maintained by the state, which includes interstates, U.S. highways, and state highways. A shift in planning strategy 20 years ago has played a key role in statewide bridge success. Since 2003, the department has used this annual plan to guide fiscally responsible strategy to address the state's most pressing needs with available funding. For the first time in the plan's 20 years, the latest update averages more than $1 billion in projects planned across the state for each plan year through 2030. To better help the public find projects relevant to them, a new online interface was also launched with the 20th anniversary 8-year plan. The new website includes an interactive map, allowing users to easily locate upcoming projects and information. Just in time for National Bike Month in May 2022, the department released its new Move OK mobile app to help cyclists and hikers find trails near them, including the U.S. Route 66 bicycle route. The app helps users find local, state, and national trails, as well as points of interest, rest stops, and picnic areas. Users can also save favorite routes and record their trips. In November, the first of 5 work packages to improve the I-44 and US 75 interchange corridor in Tulsa concluded after nearly 2 years of construction. The $90 million highway contract for this project was the largest ever awarded for the Tulsa area and included widening and reconstructing all pavement on I-44 from 4 to 6 lanes between the Arkansas River Bridge and Union Avenue. Construction also included 5 bridge replacements and reconfiguring all 4 cloverleaf ramps at the interchange. Several piers for flyover ramps were also built to be connected as part of future projects to improve the corridor. The next phase of improvement should begin in late 2023. Oklahoma City area motorists made it back on Broadway in early 2022 after 3 years of construction at the I-235 I-44 interchange. This critical interchange moves nearly 100,000 vehicles daily between North 50th and North 63rd Streets. The March 2022 opening brought to a close almost 11 years of construction to modernize the interchange. The final $16 million phase will improve traffic flow from I-44 to US 77 Broadway Extension, with a direct connection from North Lincoln Boulevard. This project is expected to be awarded in early 2023. A nearly $5 million resurfacing project made ODOT history in fall 2022 by successfully closing a section of I-35 in Oklahoma City on 2 separate weekends, cutting construction time almost in half. What would have been a 5-month-long project was shortened to about 3 months, thanks to fully closing I-35 between I-40 and I-44 one direction at a time. The contractor moved nearly 3,000 truckloads of material during the 2 weekend closures and milled more than 15,000 tons of surface, with nearly 100 contract workers on site. In Rogers County, crews realigned a section of State Highway 20 at Keatonville Hill between Owasso and Claremore. The 20-month-long, $44 million project blasted through part of the hill and excavated several million cubic yards of material to relocate and widen the highway. The new alignment opened in October, providing a safer route in northeastern Oklahoma. The project also included a new bridge crossing over the Verdigris River. In Woodward County, the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, along with local and state leaders, cut the ribbon on US 270 and US 183, marking the substantial completion of more than 2 decades of work to widen the corridor from 2 to 4 lanes between Woodward and Sealing. ODOT has invested nearly $100 million into the corridor on more than 30 projects. The Northwest Passage serves as a major freight corridor and helps connect the Panhandle to central Oklahoma.
Again, Commissioners, just a quick look back to kind of recognize some of the major projects, but we've got projects all over the state that are underway that we're extremely proud of, whether that's the improvements on 69 there at Calera, Commissioner Grimsley, where we're making good progress towards getting that project wrapped up, really looking nice, and it's going to accomplish everything that we had hoped. But we've got projects like that around the state of Oklahoma. The 8-year construction work plan in particular this year has the largest investment ever in putting shoulders on rural 2-lane highways, and that's something we're very proud of, something we've got to continue. And again, you awarded a couple of projects this morning that get after that problem, and it's something we've got to be diligent and meet our performance metrics as related, just like we've done on bridges. So again, we look forward to continuing that work and certainly thank the Commission for your continued support. Boots on the ground, folks, on during the winter storm that we recently experienced. Certainly want to give our forces out in the field districts and all of the support staff kudos. Job well done with managing the inclement weather. Tough storm. Especially in southern Oklahoma and eastern Oklahoma. Had a rough go of it, but the guys have done a fantastic job once again. And you think about all that goes into managing a storm like that, because again, it's all hands on deck 24/7, and you work till it gets done. And our folks are really, really good at it. And we appreciate the effort that they put forth to make sure that the public can travel as safely as we can possibly make it. That doesn't come without challenges. It's never as good as we'd like for it to be, but again, our team really steps up during inclement weather to the tune of working almost 23,000 man-hours, utilizing almost 18,000 tons of salt and sand mixture, and applying over 600,000 gallons of brine in pre-treating efforts, which again is something that is relatively new, piloted Commissioner Alexander in Division 6 and now adopted pretty much statewide. So brine has really helped us manage our condition during inclement weather on our bridge decks especially, but it also comes in handy at other locations. So again, thanks to everybody that was engaged and involved in managing that severe weather, inclement weather event. And we hope that we won't have another one this winter, but we're not out of the woods yet. So also want to talk just for a minute about something you're going to hear more and more about called Fair Miles Oklahoma. Fair Miles Oklahoma is our road user charge pilot, and that's exactly what it is. It's just a pilot. It's a form of a vehicle miles traveled fee structure that potentially could be a solution for our volumetric motor fuel tax that we've got in place now that brings significant resources to the transportation system. As you know, as we see alternate fuels, whether that be electric vehicles or whether that be other vehicles that are powered by hydrogen, et cetera, we have a continuing need to modernize are investment revenue collections for transportation infrastructure. So this is part of that. This is a legislatively mandated pilot, and it's going to be on a voluntary basis. There won't be any revenue exchange or collection. It's simply a pilot, and it's going to be based on an odometer reading that's collected with a module that's installed in volunteers' vehicles. So again, it's very simple. How far do you drive? And we will use that to generate a deeper dive into what might be possible here in Oklahoma. Whatever we do, if we choose to do something in the future, certainly going to have to be legislatively approved, certainly going to have to be something that Oklahomans can get around and support and be comfortable with. But this is kind of our first venture down that path. Wanted to make sure the commission was aware of this. And really, at the end of the day, a vehicle miles traveled tax is more insulated from things like the fuel efficiency standards that sometimes penalize those that might drive a large pickup for their day-to-day activities in the agricultural areas or something like that, where if you're taxed based on what your fuel efficiency is, you're paying a premium to be able to operate a vehicle like that. So again, just a pilot. We will report back regularly to the commission on our progress, and then again, ultimately this culminates at the end of December 2023 with an informational report back to the legislature that they might be able to use to help with some of their future decision making. So we're excited about the pilot and wanted to make sure the commission was aware that we're about to open that up here. Safety campaign this month is really focusing on avoiding some of the common driver errors that we see occurring out there. One is speeding. That's, again, really pay attention to those posted black and white speed limits, because what you see posted out there on the highway is for a clear, dry day, ideal conditions. So not only please don't exceed those posted speed limits, because it is a safety thing, but also if weather presents, whether that just be a rainstorm or inclement weather like we've seen, you have to adjust for those conditions. And the expectation is that the traveling public will make those adjustments, being responsible behind the wheel. But speeding is a big one. We get occasionally that drifting over the center line left of center. Distracted driving today is getting to the point whether that's texting, managing other technologies while you're behind the wheel, or just inattention in general, is quickly approaching the level of driving while impaired as far as a cause of accidents. So we ask everybody to be mindful of that and be careful. Certainly don't want you driving under the influence or driving while impaired out there. And we'll place particular emphasis this month on that and share some tips about how you can eliminate some of these errors that cause serious injury accidents and sometimes fatalities. And I would add one more point of emphasis. As always, the number one safety factor that you can do to help yourself is buckle your seatbelt. Remember, nobody ever leaves home in the morning intending to have an accident, but they happen every day out there. And if you'll just buckle that seatbelt, you've got a lot better chance of walking away from an accident rather than being a severe injury or fatality. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would stand for any questions that the commission might have of me, and very much appreciate your participation this morning.
Do any commissioners have any questions or comments? I have a couple of requests if possible. A couple of things I'd like to, and it was a very good point earlier that Ms. Penn brought up. Could we get a briefing on kind of the State of Open Meetings Act, what are our requirements with the blended virtual? We operated under kind of an emergency law that I think is ended, I believe, right?
Yes.
But there are specific requirements if we are to participate remotely. Could we get a brief, maybe a short briefing next time, just for the public's benefit and our benefit, just remind everyone of responsibilities?
We won't wait till the next commission meeting. We'll put a briefing out. That was one of the things
Thank
I
you.
noted.
Sure,
Commissioner.
okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Second thing, I'm really fascinated about the fair usage tax. I've always believed there's no fair tax. We have to figure out how to make them less unfair, right?
Yes.
But it's very intriguing to me and fascinating. I spent some time this weekend reading about the motor fuel taxes and stuff and the differences between states. We have what a lot of times we forget is we have a federal tax when we buy fuel, and we also have our state tax. And the state tax varies, the federal's everywhere. I'd like to have more of a discussion about that, because it's very fascinating to me, but also it opens up, if we start to do direct miles, it opens up some interesting Fourth Amendment. And I think it'd be good to have a discussion about, are there potential ways that we can provide those protections and make sure that we don't disincentivize participation in those types of things. I don't know if that's possible in the future. If we could have it's not urgent, but it'd be nice to have that kind of discussion, I believe.
Yeah.
Mainly how the funding mechanism works. I don't know if before I was on the commission, I didn't understand how the funding mechanism works and where our funding comes from. And I think it's important to people to realize how that's diminishing now.
Certainly,
So,
and,
okay.
and motor fuel tax is a key component.
Yes.
Not the only component
Right.
of transportation
Right.
system investment. And, the really interesting thing to me is when you look at motor fuel tax in particular, Oklahoma's tax rate is 45th lowest in the country. And there's some reasons behind that are worth talking about. So Commissioner, we'd love to give you a briefing on it.
Yeah, the stats, I think Pennsylvania is like more than 3 times. Ours is around
Yes.
20 cents a gallon, which
20
is parity
cents.
with the federal. Federal's right below 20, I think. But Pennsylvania, I forgot what it was, but it's very high.
Yep.
And California, I think, was second, so.
And it widely varies,
Right.
but again, historically, Oklahoma's been certainly in the lower tier or near the bottom.
And that's gas and diesel, both of them.
Gas and diesel both, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I do want to thank my fellow commissioners and ODOT for their patience today, but I do want to remind the commissioners, they elected me, so the elections have consequences. So the issues we've had today, we share the blame for that. So, but with that said, do we have any other comments or concerns? I assume no. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion
moved.
Dyson.
Okay.
Second, Goldberg.
Second, okay. Any discussion on that? So, no. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson, yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Peterson, yes.
Okay, the motion carries. We are adjourned. Please be careful and safe out there. Thank you.